Okay, Paul, let's start. I'm going to be long again. If you are okay for this video to be public, let me know. I'm going to describe a lot of moves. I think there are a lot of misconceptions that you are fighting, and even though in your emails, in the other emails you sent me, you were rehearsing better patterns, you are fighting things, and I can see that you are hitting the ball pretty well and shooting correct scores, so you are manufacturing good impact, I mean functional impact conditions and release. So I think if you try and fix a few things, you will have to be careful and keep it functional on the course. So maybe don't really try to fix everything at once. I'm pretty sure a few moves will make others easier, but there's going to be a lot of moves that are non-optimal yet. Be careful because you are making these non-optimal patterns work. So always film and see, but don't stay too much away from the course. Okay, so we'll start with a posture. So from what I like is stance width is okay. You have flared feet, but this is definitely not an issue. That promotes a few patterns on the downswing. Some people with completely squared feet tend to rotate less unless they really have perfect spine move, and often you will see the left foot spin and jump out. With this flare foot you have more ability to go to the outside of the foot and spin on the heel, so that's fine for me. Your position of the left hand is correct in my opinion. It's strong, it doesn't require a lot of strength in the supination flexion pattern. I think your right hand is slightly weak. The fact that you have the hands a bit forward, this seems to be a mid-iron, so in my opinion the ball is a bit back, but that fits your release and kind of a slide in the downswing, so it's making your pattern function. But because this shaft is a bit forwards, it's harder to interpret the right hand. I think you could make it stronger, and given the club face management that you do, I think you would benefit from a stronger right hand. I would try and not have the left elbow point at your hip and have it more on point at the target, so turn it like this at address. You don't have to go to the full range of motion, but try to not have it point at the hip because it's setting up takeaway moves that you have, and that are non-optimal. It's hard to see your elbow pit. I'm not really too concerned with this right arm. From down the line, you have nice setup. I mean, armpits, knees, ball of the feet are okay. Really nothing really to say here. It's balance. You are not too curved in this area, which would be a bad thing, so I think you are really okay. It's okay to have this a bit hunched at address. It's way better than having completely straight back. So now in posture from this, I will just touch the left shoulder. It's not externally rotated, but it could be more neutral to slightly internally rotated in my opinion. And maybe fix the ball position and put it more off your left ear, something like that, somewhere around that. So maybe one ball forward with less shaft lean. Maybe it will be enough to look okay. So maybe it's my perception that is skewed. I feel the right hand is slightly weak, and given your Given your club face management, I would say it's weak, at least for your current pattern. Okay, so I'm doing this on the fly, so it's always better because I repeat things, and I think it's better than when I script my analysis. So bear with me when I'm silent. I'm just trying to prioritize. So yep. Here, what you are going to see, and Kelvin talked about this a lot, is setting up incorrect spine moves, incorrect scapular movements and patterns, and that will be patterns that you will fight for the whole downswing because you know what's right. And from the rehearsals, I know you are rehearsing things that are right. But look at what happens in the takeaway. If I trace something on your shoulders, they are very, very level. If we look here, pay attention to that left arm. Here you go from kind of external rotation to internal rotation, so your shoulder is rotating like this a lot in the backswing, in the takeaway actually, and that's fanning the club open, and this is coherent with what happens because it's kind of a mirror movement because both arms are on the club. What happens is also external rotation in this fashion of the right shoulder. That's opening your club face big time. Here the club face is open. Ledbetter would like to have it straight here, but except maybe in his A-swing, new trendy way of swinging, but this is, in my opinion, incorrect. It's open to the arc, so I would try to keep it more like here maybe. So this is coming, I think, by changing address you would completely fix this. So if you were less ER on the left shoulder, you would have less room for IR in the takeaway, and maybe with a stronger right hand you would not go ER with this shoulder, and that's coherent, that's a correct pattern, and that's a natural pattern, but it's not okay for golf and definitely not for takeaway. So it's more of a freestyle swim, if you want, instead of a backstroke. What happens with this kind of pattern is that you set up very level shoulders, so Kelvin wants like 35, maybe 40 at the top, and here you are setting up, I think, like somewhere around 20, 18, 20 maybe. Okay, I was a bit severe. Let's get here, yeah, 18. So what that tells me is that your scapula, which is here, is not going up, and not up that way, and the scapula here is not going down and that way. So it's more of right scap staying neutral or going down, and this one going up. That's it's going together with this IR ER pattern, and it's very, very hard to end up into a nice high position, and you cannot do that. You're kind of low, and our hands end up a bit too they are too deep, and that tells me that your spine is definitely in right lateral bend. If you are here, you're at like 18 degrees, and we would like to see something like more here. It will be more optimal, and we would see that kind of a curved spine here, and you are very, very straight here, and here we can see that it's more like so. So your spine is like so. So some people can do it. I mean, David Lingberth is in right lateral bend at the top, and he managed to do some good things. And to be honest, you do a pretty good job from here, because people that are here tend to stretch a lot these left abs, and these left abs fire and contract like so, typically, and that gives kind of a thrust which you are not doing. So some people like thrust and end up with the pelvis here and the spine here and the head here. So you are not doing this. So you have a good body, so you are manufacturing some good moves from a bad top of the backswing position. But it would be way easier if you were addressing the address problems and kind of getting this kind of a C-shaped backswing, like hand pathwing like so. So gaining depth a lot in the start of the takeaway, and then not gaining much depth and ending up above the right shoulder and not behind it. So try and have the hands go here. Spine would be more like here, and you have more tilt, and arms here. Instead of this, you are kind of a narrow position, low position, and this shoulder is in external rotation, so it's going to be very, very hard to put it back in place in front of the right hip. But as I say, you have a good body, so you try and you almost manage to have it in front of the right hip. I mean, right now it's in front of the right hip, but on the face on we will see that it's behind it. But doing that, if you noticed, your face ends up wide open. That's because of the grip, that's because of the shoulders, that's because of the spine moves. And here you will be open, so your body knows it's open. So what can it do? I mean, the only thing it can do is kind of stopping the upper body and firing, because it knows what a square club face is, and it has to fire to manage the club face. It has to fire this right elbow from bent to extending very rapidly. This means loss of lag, loss of body moves, because it has to be stable so the arms can fling off the chest, and it's also setting up a flip, and because you are flipping you have to slide towards target to maintain a low point in front of the ball. So it's all consequences. So I'm not saying you are sliding per se and actively or consciously. I'm just saying that your body knows what's a good club face. It knows what is a low point and how to manufacture correct impact conditions. But all in all of this is set up because of the backswing. In the downswing, I see that you are trying like crazy to put the right elbow in front, but that means from this top of the backswing, that means open club face, and open club face means right shoulder protraction, right shoulder internal rotation, right elbow extension, etc. with a flip. And flip for a player that knows what good impact conditions and wants to have clean contact means sliding. There's no way around it. Okay, my cat is doing a lot of noise. I hope you don't hearing too much. Okay, so basically you should try and have the right scapula moving up, and in a way kind of towards the ball like so, and have the left scapula move down and away from the ball. That would mean higher shoulder. If you had better address position with this shoulder, you won't have so much range of motion towards internal rotation, external rotation, and you would end up in a better place. So, from face on, I'm going to just create the backswing. So, okay, should have it. Okay, it's okay. So here, look at this elbow. Your shoulder is going to have tons of range of motion in this direction. Here you can see opening, and here, look at the club face, how found open this is. And that's just because you had this room. If you had set up into internal rotation, you wouldn't have so much room, and it would not possible. This sets up your club into a narrow arc, and this will trigger early wrist set, early right elbow extension, and that's just a pattern that's making your right scapular retract, go down, left scap protract, go up, and that's the reverse scapular pattern. So here you can see that it's kind of a narrowish type of backswing, so you're not getting the distance and the stretch of the all muscles that we need on the downswing. Here we draw a line here, because of the mechanics of your downswing and the things you fight in the upper body and in the spine, there's no way you can not slide. You have to maintain contact. So here you can see that you're trying to have the elbow going forward, but in the end, because you have to make contacts, you have to slide. Because you have to slide, it's impossible to get the elbow in front of the right hip. And so the only option you have is to, because the club face is really wide open, it's like 50 degrees open to the arc now, so you have to fire into internal rotation. The right scapula is protracting, the right elbow is extending, and here that's how you manage to get a club face that is closing, and then there's no going back. You have to close it and flip it. There's no way around it. Because of that, to maintain good contact, good turf contact, and have the low point like somewhere around here, like low point is somewhere around here. Yeah, somewhere around here. You have to slide forward. So all of what happens in the lower body is a reaction. I mean, you cannot fix the lower body if you don't fix the upper body. It's just not going to be functional. Everything is going to be translated here, and your low point will be somewhere around here, so not good contact. You will hit the ground here for a low point that's just under the ball, so that's not functional, and your body knows that. So all this, I mean, the body here is not providing a ton of rotation, but it cannot. I mean, it had to slide because it knows it's flipping, because it's slidey. The left leg is broken. It's stuck in kind of external rotation. Right hip is going to internal rotation. It actually no other choice. I mean, that's all sliders do that. You do not jump a ton, and you do not have too much of a hip thrust, which is a very good start to very good place to be. A lot of people really struggle with that, but you don't have it. And the other thing is that your trunk balance stays okay even with imperfect spine moves. So here on the backswing you keep the tush line even though the spine is here, so that's rare and that's a good thing. And on the downswing, even though you don't have optimal pelvic rotation, you manage to stay on the tush line. So with better backswing and transition mechanics, you will definitely, I think you will definitely manage to be here and be far beyond the tush line with great lateral bend, etc. So yeah, I think there's no really point into describing what happens in your spine. I mean, you know you have a straight spine. Your spine is not going into right lateral bend as it should. I mean, that's just obvious. Here you are so far away from the left ankle, so far in front, it's impossible to get really a right lateral bend. So you have like a little bit of right lateral bend, but it's definitely not the amount that we are looking for. But you cannot do that. It's not possible. You would get too far dumped on the plane. You're already on the plane because of the casting flipping moves. So right lateral bend is not an option, it would move your low point back. I mean, it's just not functional. Your brain is very smart and it knows how to perform and get good contact and good ball flight. So you will have to fix things in the backswing and the transition, in my opinion, to progress. There's no point to work on the downswing from here. There's just too much things to fight. Okay, so priorities. Try and fix that left elbow. Try and get it more internal rotation with the elbow pointing more at the target. It doesn't have to be perfect, but here you have way too much room or range of motion in that direction. I think I would move the ball slightly forward, but it would kind of force you to get more lag and better moves, but maybe this won't be functional, so you have to keep things functional and go on the course to make it the swing evolves. You cannot do everything on the range and just trust it. So yeah, first thing first, this left shoulder. Second, try and have this right scapula that's here go up, and this left scapula, sorry, here go down. And from down the line, it would make a move like so. So here, right scapula shooting up and towards the ball, and left scapula shooting down and away from the ball. This pattern of early right elbow flexion, early reset, and IR, ER, I think you won't be able to do it if you perform the correct scapular moves and from the correct address position, and try and have, I mean, more tilted shoulder will happen, and very probably more left lateral bend will happen. Just make sure you also match up with the correct club face, which would be around here, not straight up and down. And that's about it. That's really what I would start, because if you do that, you would get 3 good transition moves, because right now there's really no point fighting against all those fighting force on the downswing. I think you cannot overcome this, and you would get kind of a rebound from it. Here it's Keegan, so try and picture these movements. Okay, so here, even it's a 3 wood, I mean, look at the tilt. I know he's young, I know he's flexible, but it's just anatomy. I mean, you cannot fight all these moves that you're setting up. I mean, he's like 35 degrees, 36 with a 3 wood. I mean, so he's the extreme opposite of you. His spines end up like so, and if you look here, I'll go back and forth, you can see that there's a rebound from left lateral bend to right lateral bend, and look what is happening in his elbow. It's pointing the elbow straight in that direction, even if nothing's really happening at that speed. Nothing's really happening in the shoulder joint. So just look how it's setting up his elbow in front of the right hip. I mean, it's just free. So it's a rebound that gives him right lateral bend, depth here. I'll just shoot it again from here. As you can see, even here he already has tons of shoulder tilt. So picture his left scap going here, right scap going here, kind of. And he ends up naturally into a more left lateral bend. I mean, the scapular movement patterns are crucial to get perfect spine behavior and get into left lateral bend. Okay, and it's also because you will have better elbow move, you will retain more lag. And because you have better address position and club face management, your body will know that the club face is already square, so it knows it doesn't have to stop, flip the arms, flip the club to square up, because it's already almost square to the arc. So it doesn't have to flip because it doesn't have to flip, it doesn't have to slide because it doesn't have to slide. This is staying more inside the left ankle, even though Keegan is, in my opinion, a bit slidey compared to some others, but he does rotate pretty well, even though he's almost reaching. No, it's still shy of the left ankle, but yeah, maybe it's the broken leg, like staying in kind of ER, not really getting a perfect second fire that gives him this slidey appearance, but he's definitely shy of the left ankle. But here you can see the lag that is conserved, so more shaft lean, more lag, more speed, because when you have so much lag, you are decreasing the MOI of the arms and the club, and you can rotate faster. In your swing, you have to stop the body, extend the arms, increase the MOI, and like a ice skater that is spinning, if you extend the arms, you're rotating slower and slower. So yeah, you will have easier elbow move, better club face management, so the slide I think will go away, and more lag retention, etc., and rotating faster. And because you won't flip it, you will have much better dynamic loft into the ball, so more compression and less spin, and so less discrepancies in carry distance on the errands, etc. So, sum up again, teaching is repeating. So, right shoulder IR, a bit, maybe a bit stronger right hand. Here, set up with more, wide arms, like staying with both hands, both arms, straight, at least in the takeaway, performing better scapula movements, with the right scapula going up and towards the ball, left scapula going down and towards the ball, not letting the club face fan open like so. But if you change the address, I think that won't be possible. Here you will end up in more left lateral bend, which will set up more right lateral bend transition, freer elbow move, and especially from face on, it won't be as back as it's right now. Right now it tries to reach, but it's definitely not reaching in front, and it's aggravated by the fact that you have to slide to maintain good contact. So it's like trying to close the door with the hinge, trying to close the door from here to here, with the hinge moving away from you towards target. So impossible move. And that's pretty much it. The downswing moves it's really irrelevant to work on those right now. Yeah, basically two things: takeaway, address position, takeaway, and scapular moves. That's what I would do first, and see what happens if you get freer and club face management of the takeaway, and see what happens.